The Prime Minister predicts higher economic growth in 2015. Finance Minister says 2014 budget is in tune with expenditures. And the fight for Papua's independence still alive.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and welcome to Thursday's news. Thanks for your company. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has assured the country and the international community that the government has achieved some of its objectives in the 2014 national budget. Mr. O'Neill attributed this to good management and fiscal discipline under his leadership. He predicts a much higher economic growth in 2015.
O'Neill made his remarks in a separate interview after attending the state memorial service of the late Edward Gough Whitlam in Sydney, Australia. The service celebrated the life and the achievements of the former Australian Prime Minister, who was also instrumental in granting Papua New Guinea's independence. Also present was the founding father of the nation, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. On the status of the country's economy, Mr. O'Neill said what they predicted in the 2014 national budget has been achieved. They predicted they will run on a budget of 5.9% deficit with a steady debt level less than 35% of GDP with an inflation rate around 5%. He said they will continue to create an environment where employment can continue to grow. In the coming years, the government predicts that by 2017, the country will have a balanced budget. They intend to do this by reducing debt levels, ensure deficit levels are on target, continue to maintain confidence in the global business community, and create more employment opportunities. Mr. O'Neill said the government was spending money on areas they stated in the 2014 budget. These included education, health, and infrastructure. Despite big investments in infrastructure, particularly for the 2015 Pacific Games, he says all is on track and they will present a very good budget in 2015. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
The 2014 national budget is in tune with the current expenditures on development infrastructures around the country. This was the assurance given by Finance Minister James Marape in a media briefing this afternoon at Vulupindi House. Despite carrying on with a deficit budget, Minister Marape said the budget is tracking at 71%.
The Finance Minister was accompanied by his Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan when highlighting and giving a rundown of the expenditure of the 2014 budget. Minister Marape said a lot of criticism has surfaced around the current government's expenditure, but all is well as spending within budget limits is a priority.
In terms of our expenditure forecast and also in terms of our revenue collection, we got 2 more months to go, and as I speak today, I'm very confident that our government will conclude 2014 expenditure year on target in as far as our expenditure budget is concerned.
Marape said all major infrastructures including health, education subsidies, 2015 Pacific Games, PSIP and DSIP are tracking appropriately above the 70% mark. He said the O'Neill Dion government will continue to improve and deliver services to the people.
Our government stands committed and ready to honor those as budgeted for in this year's budget. We're also in the process of putting together 2015 budget, of which treasurer takes carriage of, and as we come to a budget occasions in the next few weeks.
However, Minister Marape gave a sound warning to all department heads as there has been a lot of unnecessary spending in certain departments.
And unbudgeted for personal emoluments are something that this government is working seriously to contain. And so we sound warning out to all department heads to take strong custody of their wage bills, make sure that their wage bills are within budget. And from finance and perspective, and also from the government of O'Neill and Dion, we are very serious in penalizing department heads who allow wage bills to blow out of proportion every time.
Jekla Pave Jr., National EMTV News.
A financial information forum was held today in Port Moresby with various presentations addressing financial management issues as well as reforms undertaken by the government. Hosted by the Department of Finance, the forum was attended by officers from most government agencies and development partners. Acting Secretary for Finance, Dr. Ken Nangan, said the department is in the process of establishing a Government Accounts Association to look into assisting finance managers better equip themselves.
The Department of Finance on occasions provides information to government departments and agencies about current financial management issues and reforms undertaken by the government. One way the department engages stakeholders on these issues is by hosting regular finance information forums, which have been held since 2006. It is an avenue to inform the public and other development partners of the measures taken to better manage public funds and resources. The forum held today saw presentations on the roles of financial controllers within departments and agencies, and also on financial reporting for national departments. There was a session on the government's Sovereign Wealth Fund and the First Home Ownership Scheme. The forum's other topics included the Australian High Commission presentation on accessing donor technical assistance in various programs and fields.
So Australia has long supported the government of Papua New Guinea.
Moving forward, the Finance Department signed an MOA with the University of PNG yesterday to offer a Bachelor in Government Public Sector Accounting program. The first 30 students will start next year with the hope of having more public service practitioners to attain a government accounting qualification. The Finance Department is also in the process of establishing a Government Accounts Association which will look at assisting finance managers better equip themselves in terms of training, capacity building, and professional development. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
Today's front page of the national newspaper raised eyebrows and caused a stir with those involved in the GOC's preparations towards the 2015 Pacific Games. The executives of the Games Organizing Committee and the Pacific Games Council met today to address the newspaper's claims that an additional 400 million kina was needed to fund the 2015 Pacific Games. MTV's Lorraine Genia reports.
In a news conference today, Chairlady of the Games Organising Committee, Emma Y, stated specifically what the Game Organising Committee's budget was and expressed her confusion on the ghost figures.
The paper said that we wanted 400 million kina. I need to say that's wrong. Okay. Since last year, we've set our budget at 160 million. Okay, and that hasn't changed since then. Of this total value, the government is giving us 96 million, okay, and the remainder of 64 million kina.
President of Pacific Games Council, Vidya Lakan, assured all members of the media that this news conference was the first since he has been here, and claims made in the paper stating he was amazed by the way the newspaper ran a front page story about something he never said. Minister for Sports was quick to respond, saying he is disappointed with the hatching of a comment by the unknown reporter of the paper. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea will soon have its own national security policy 39 years after independence. Today, the Department of Transport held its first meeting with the National Security Council to discuss and align the department's draft policy with the national policy. The NEC has directed the Office of Security Coordination and Assessment Department to spearhead the formulation.
From the last 39 years, the country was running without a national security policy. Security measures were handled through reaction and response to crisis.
What we have done over the last 39 years is basically reacting to national security situations, responding to crisis. Instead of doing that, we'd like to plan properly, and this policy provides the basis for us to do that.
The policy will provide strategic framework to deliver better security to the state. This will now involve the help of all key security agencies, government, private sector, and civil society organizations to align their policies and ensure our national security is done collaboratively. The Strategic Action Plan of 2014 to 2020 was developed following a directive from National Executive Council in 2011. The Department of Transport is taking the lead in formulating the National Transport Security Strategic Plan.
However, some security risks can be unpredictable. To mention a few: terrorism, law and order issues, transnational crime, and human and drug trafficking are some few.
The Transport Department's key goal is to ensure them providing a safe, secure, efficient, and affordable transport system throughout Papua New Guinea.
And we need to create an environment which is safe and secure regarding all modes of transport: aviation, maritime, and road transport. We have that responsibility and mandated. We need to also be compliant to international standards and protocols to create that safe and secure environment.
This is also to safeguard significant events like the 2015 Pacific Games, APEC 2018, and related multilateral meetings. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
And among more stories coming up after the break, Papuans renew their fight for independence. Also, a modern police station for Lae City, and Crater Gold Project issued a mining license. Stay tuned for the details. Good to have you back with the news. Now, having the same acronym for the name of a government body has its drawbacks. In last night's news, we aired a story regarding the National Forest Authority Managing Director appearing in court on charges of official corruption. Now, National Forest Authority shares the same acronym, NFA, as the National Fisheries Authority. EMTV would like to unreservedly apologize to the Managing Director of the National Fisheries Authority, John Kasu, for any interference made to his position, a position that he currently holds with integrity. Last night's story was about the Managing Director of the National Forest Authority, Kanawi Pauru. On a much more brighter note, the fight for Papua's independence is still alive. This was reaffirmed today during the flag-raising ceremony to commemorate Papua's 130 years anniversary. Dame Josephine Abijah has called for a united Papua to reclaim their identity.
On this day, back in 1884, Papua was declared a protectorate. The flag-raising ceremony at Kira Kira village in the nation's capital was to reaffirm that Papuans feel they have been denied their rights to self-government. Dame Josephine Abijah, who has been at the forefront of the movement, was vocal to see Papuans reclaim their true identity. The Papua issue has long been debated, with Dame Josephine urging thinking Papuans not to give up the fight. She wants to see that Papua develops in the future.
When I look at this flag, and when Eskin Commodore make that declaration, making Papua an independent country, I didn't do that. Eskin did that.
There are plans to make the movement global to rally support for the Papuan cause.
I want to announce today we are going international to make sure that Papua, we can look for other people who want to help us if Australia doesn't want to help us. Yeah. If Australia doesn't want to help us, okay, we are going to look everywhere else. There are people there who would want to come and develop Papua.
With or without support from their political heads, Papuans are determined as ever to one day be able to take ownership of their land, resources and people. Dame Josephine appealed to all Papuans to instill in their children the true Papuan values.
Dedication, determination, decision, discipline. Man must make sure they are always diplomatic in their approach. Yeah. Those things, I want all those things to be taught to our Papuan children. So when they grow, they will be accepted anywhere in the world.
Godwin Aki, National EMTV News.
Lae City will have a more modern central police station at Top Town in the next 7 months. Today, at the launching of the new Lae Central Police Station, Metropolitan Superintendent Ivan Lakatani also called on joint efforts by the Lae community to curb Lae's petty crime problems. He says communities must help the police when infrastructure is being built to improve the morale in the force.
The old Lae Central Police Station will be replaced with a more modern building funded by the Australian government. Today marked the beginning of the construction of the 4 million kina structure after negotiations took 11 months to complete. The positive news comes when Lae City is facing a spike in the number of petty crimes.
And that will ease our problem of having problems with the office spaces within the Lae Metropolitan Command.
Metropolitan Superintendent Ivan Lakatani sees it as a morale boost for the Lae Police to fight crimes, but explained that Lae's petty crime problems can only be solved when there is cooperation in the community to capture offenders.
You know, if everybody becomes responsible and take ownership of the law and order situation in the city, these petty crimes will not be a problem at all.
Lakatani's response comes after an increase of petty crimes. 2 caused murders. Several months ago, the killing of a man at Kasuari Road by thugs after he handed over 75 kina. He was stabbed with a screwdriver. The most recent was the stabbing of a teenage boy on Boundary Road's Maiba Junction. The new building will be a more modern facility, the infrastructure built specifically to house equipment needed to run operations throughout the city.
We've been here working closely with them, conducting foot patrols, vehicle patrols, assisting in the front office and in custody management, prosecutions, CID work, and many other parts of policing business. But today,
Australian Federal Police Assistant Commissioner Alan Scott explains that the project is a milestone in the Papua New Guinea-Australian policing partnership. But the ongoing debate on petty crimes took center stage today. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, while speaking at the launching, urged parents in the crowd to discipline their children.
This like a petty law and order business issue player. Me no like looking come up.
He called for a more collective approach to the problem. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
The planned Yanguru Mobile Police Barracks, which is an essential part of the Sepik Plains oil pump project, is set to go through its designing stages in coming days. Under the Departments of Trade, Commerce and Industry and the Yanguru South Sea District, a sum of 539,000 kina will be used to scope and design the barracks. Once the police base is built, it will serve all areas of the Yanguru South Sea District as well as other areas of East Sepik.
The main purpose of the planned mobile squad police barracks in the Yanguru South Sea District is to protect the government's 100 million kina Sepik Plains oil pump project. Also to serve and protect the people of Yanguru and other parts of the East Sepik province. It is one of the many basic infrastructure services the government is building in the district to pave way for the oil pump project. And yesterday evening, contracts to start the initial designing and scoping of the police barracks were signed, with work expected to start soon. Project coordinator Ruben Ape says out of the 100 million kina the government has invested in the project, the police barracks will cost around 15 million kina.
Around 15 million. So we will see if we will have to see because, price of things are, rising, fluctuating, so it very much depends. So if anything, but that's the margin, the window that we have here.
While roads have been upgraded over the past 2 months, rural electrification projects currently under construction and education being prioritized in the district, these services plus the police barracks are all platforms to the major oil pump project.
This mobile police barracks is just one component of the whole infrastructures that the government is committing to support the special economic zones project.
The barracks will go through its designing phase in the coming days, and once that process is completed, the construction will begin early next year.
The whole, from the start to the finish of the police barracks construction will very much depend on how many buildings and what type of buildings that we are going to put in.
Stanley Oved Jr., National EMTV News.
Taripori MP James Marape has condemned the recent killings and lawlessness in his district. He said police on the ground are doing the best to control the situation. MP Marape gave a stern warning to his people, saying if fighting continues, funds allocated for roads, rural electrification and health projects will be diverted to law and order to bring peace.
We are trying our very best to bring development, but it doesn't help when people killing each other like pigs and dogs up there in the electorate. So I appeal to my people to lay down their arms. In as far as trouble fight is concerned and law and order, I will stop expenditures in education or health or other sectors and divert all money to law and order if you want me to address law and order issues.
The board of Kina Petroleum Limited has announced that the company has agreed to a strategic placement to raise capital. In an announcement to the Port Moresby Stock Exchange today, the board announced that PIE Holdings has offered to invest 18.4 million Australian dollars, just over 37 million Kina, in Kina Petroleum. This investment will go towards funding ongoing exploration and development activities of the company's existing projects and general working capital. The placement is expected to be completed over the next 2 working days. Whilst this transaction is being finalized, the securities of the company have been placed in a trading halt session. Crater Gold project located on the border of Eastern Highlands and Simbu province yesterday signed a mining lease granting them a small-scale mining license. The signing was done in Parliament yesterday between Mining Minister Byron Chan, Managing Director of Crater Gold Mine Richard Johnson, Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso, and respective landowners of the project.
Exploration has been undertaken at Crater for close to 30 years and over 40 million kina has been spent so far. The project is small but yet significant, as it will be the first underground mine in the country with a lifespan of 5 years, depending on its exploration viability after the 5 years.
Crater Gold Mining has been and is still in discussions on various agreements with the state, the Navera landowners, the Eastern Highlands Provincial Government and the Lufa local level government to formally complete the process for the mining lease.
Minister Byron Chan said that Crater Gold will generate a net revenue of approximately 125 million kina during the mine life based on the current gold price.
Crater Mountain will use its revenues from the mine to further fund the underground exploration activity within the 1115 EL, and it is a very prospective tenement and has a great potential for a significant resource. The small-scale underground operation proposed by Crater Mountain is a valuable project based on the financial analysis. The project is minuscule in size compared to other mine projects in Papua New Guinea, but for a certain class which is not seen in PNG.
Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso thanked Mining Minister Byron Chan and the developer for having the project to go ahead and thus will benefit a province and the country at large.
I believe the people of Eastern Highlands will benefit a lot, especially those in the Unavi LLG. It's very remote. They still need road infrastructure, good road infrastructure. They still need schools and health centers and that. So,
Benny Gatang, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.395 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, the kina was buying $0.3875, $0.4465 Australian dollars, €0.3024 and 43.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa and copper all closed lower. Palm oil and copper closed lower, crude oil closed the day higher. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 101 points higher, the ASX closed at 2 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 6 points lower. And in more news to come, public curators underfunded and IT company Digitech extend services to other centres. Stay tuned for the details coming up next. Thanks for your company and welcome back. The head of the public curator, Jacob Popona, said the public curator's office should be given equal treatment just like any other government department. Mr. Popona said in Leh yesterday that the current state of the curator's office has left many issues unsolved.
This gathering is small, but it gives a tiny picture of what public curators do. This group, headed by the head of the public curators, Jacob Popona, is in a serious discussion. They are negotiating how assets belonging to a deceased person will be shared amongst his family, originally from the Western Highlands province.
That's why they give the public curators a lot of headaches in solving these issues.
In this interview, Mr. Popona has raised concerns on the state and the general operations of the Public Curator's Office in Papua New Guinea.
The problem is in the absence of a will, and when we try to dispute, and at most times when we are understaffed, and when we are not recouping what is rightfully to repay the loans, everything goes missing, and most of the properties that we should be paying and recoup for the benefit of the beneficiaries are always being lost, or the banks are selling it under mortgage powers.
Many may not see the work of public curators as significant as any other government departments, but it plays an important role. Over the years, the curators haven't been performing their role to expectations. A combination of understaff and lack of financial support has contributed to unresolved issues such as land titles and property ownership.
As the country is developing, we also need to improve our resources, services to the people in the regional centers.
The main challenge for the curator's office is dealing with cases of people who have died without a will.
So the case for me, I'm taking 2 years now, almost 2 years now. Long working final decision now.
Delay in solving these issues may result to forfeiting of personal assets to the state or banks, leaving the next of kin with nothing from his family lineage. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Leh.
Murray Stopes will be taking part in the Canoe Kundu Festival in Alatau this year. One of the newest centres in the province, the aim of participating in the festival is to showcase the delivery of family planning services. It will also mark the organisation's 18,000 clients served through the Sustainable Development Strategy. MSG PNG Showcase is to create an opportunity for government partners to see the Sustainable Population Pilot Project in action and to meet clients and team members. The project, launched in 2014, provides a new vision for PNG's development, and MS PNG is supporting the project. Digitech PNG is planning on extending its services into Leh and other provinces soon. The move is to provide a competitive environment in the information and communications technology sector in the country. This was announced at the opening of Digitech's new showroom in Port Moresby.
The opening of this new office marks a milestone for the ICT company, as it only began operating in PNG 2 years ago.
As a growing economy at the periphery of the brain, being linked between Asia and Pacific, it's all positive for everyone.
But making profit is not the only focus of the company. Since its establishment in 2012, it has been training locals in ICT and investing in its employees' welfare.
We want to also invest in the future of PNG.
The new showroom was formally opened yesterday by National Capital District Governor PAPUA'S. It is aimed at providing the ever-growing ICT needs of Papua New Guineans through some of the latest technology it has in store. The opening was witnessed by Digitech staff and partners, including Rico Australia. Teklagunga, National EMTV News.
And that's a take on our news segment tonight, but stay tuned, we've got sporting action coming up next in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
BSP PNG Games 2014. 9 days to go. Support your province.
Team Vava has done it once again, defending their National Open and Youth Volleyball title for 11 consecutive years. The team was accompanied by their long-serving captain, Ravu Mahuru, coach Tom Lui, and their team president, Turaho Moria, from the start of the competition to the end. The team will be leaving for Australia in a week for their high-performance training, followed by a competition in
Winning for the 11th consecutive year, the Vava volleyball team arrived yesterday from Lae, showing off their trophies as victors of the National Open Youth Championship. The team was accompanied by coach and president all the way through from start to the finish of the competition. Presentations of the trophies were also given in different categories at the presentation. The team had the Best Spiker Award, the Most Valuable, the Best Server and the Best Setter trophy, including the Big Victory Cup of the tournament. Team coach Tom Louis was confident about the boys winning the competition from the beginning, as they have kept their defending titles for the past 10 years, and this year was no exception.
There were a lot of teams, about 16 associations took part in the national championships. We were pulled in the big pool because they pulled us in ABCD pools. We were in the big pool and they slaughtered us against Kiunga, Huon2 and Baroni. So our pool was not that tight, not that hard.
Captain Ravu Mahuru is also one of the longest serving player of the team. Since 2007, he's also the captain of the PNG Amoa national men's team.
I'm a Maslon. Now I'm playing 11 title. I play as a captain for Vava since 2007. Na niya mamaslo new player under 21 mangi mi play putimol kamanta play open team na all play good directed na.
In a week's time, the team will travel to Gold Coast for their high-performance training following the Under-23 Australia Test competition in Canberra, then followed by the Goodwill Tour. Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
Water PNG has become the most recent organisation to support the PNG Games through the Consel sponsorship package with a contribution of 150,000 kina. Water PNG follows a long line of sponsors with corporate contributions up to 3 million kina received to date. The sponsorship will assist in executing a range of new activities, including carrying out of improvements to local venues, coordination and strengthening security services, as well as other logistical and administrative tasks. The two-week-long PNG Games will be held from the 16th to the 29th of this month and will see over 10,000 participants from 22 different provinces drawn together. And True Kai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports.
Good to have you back with True Kai Sports. On a positive note, for the 2015 Games Organising Committee, the Pacific Games Council is satisfied with the current preparations. Members of the council visited Port Moresby in February and July and are in the country again to assess the progress thus far.
With 7 months to go, the Pacific Games Council is reasonably comfortable with the GOC's efforts towards the readiness of the Games. Executive Director of Pacific Games Council, Andrew Minogue, admitted to a number of concerns surrounding the Games, the venues being of particular concern. Since the start of this year, this city has become home to some attractive steel infrastructures, which is soon to become state-of-the-art facilities in the whole of the Pacific.
We're not there yet. I think we all recognise that. But if all of the parties keep working together and redouble their efforts, the President and I are assured that we will be in a position to have an excellent Games here next year. And that's the message we want to get out to you today, but also to our 21 Pacific Games associations that will be coming here next July.
The 2015 Games in particular will be a lead to a new direction. The 2015 Port Moresby Pacific Games will not only expose Papua New Guinea to all 22 participating countries, but to millions around the world. And with that comes great responsibility from the GOC to ensure the nation is fully prepared.
I speak on behalf of our board that the preparations are definitely well underway, and the team at the Games Organising Committee are working really hard to make sure that we deliver a successful Games. That's been our motto from day one. We will deliver the best ever Games, and we are still going to maintain that.
Without the leisure of time, VIAC has an immense responsibility of ensuring the handover of venues to the GOC by March next year.
Which is the Venues Committee, to work very closely with the Games Organising Committee and start to get a process agreed about when the venues would be handed over.
Despite the misconception of the public, the Pacific Games Council ensures that all measures will be in place to ensure that the Games will go ahead as planned, and July the 4th of 2015 will be something spectacular. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
In snooker, Port Moresby and Kaveng Open snooker champion Marcus Owen Ning has won the Pacific MMI Port Moresby Snooker Handicap Challenge. Ning, with a handicap of -20, defeated young Miria David, who had a handicap of +20, 4 frames to 1 in the best of 7 frames final at the Dragon's Den in Port Moresby on Sunday.
Marcus Ning showed that a -20 handicap was not an obstacle when he beat 18-year-old Miria David 4 frames to 1 in the best of 7 frames final at the Dragon's Den on Sunday and win the 2014 Pacific MMI Port Moresby Snooker Handicap Challenge. Ning got off to a 2-0 start, and when David won the 3rd frame, Ning unleashed all his experience and showed the 40-point start he gave was not going to be a hindrance. Along the way, Ning scored his 2nd high break of 46. In the semi-finals earlier, Ning managed to edge out another young star in Manuel Kapi, handicap of 25, 3 frames to 2, while David disposed of newcomer Skei Magoke 3-0. Big Kiwi Danny Earls, with a handicap of 20, took out the plate after beating Kametan Subunaka with a handicap of 15. Last year's champion Polia Pokana was eliminated in the last 32. 17-year-old Edward Lakai with a 40 handicap took out top seed and the best junior awards. Jane Laigi, also with a 40 handicap, was best female player, and semi-finalist Kei Magoke took out the most outstanding player award with a handicap of 50. Tournament director Nelson Chanai thanked major sponsors Pacific MMI, support sponsors Rhythm PNG, Consolidated PNG, Graffiti Science, Lamana Hotel, the National and Venues Dragon's Den, and Aviate Club for hosting the event for the past 2 weeks. Scholar Sengi, National EMTV Sports.
And that does it for True Kai Sports tonight. Coming up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, all centers relatively fine. In Momase, fine weather in Ley City, few showers expected in Wewak and Vanimo, and thundery showers in Madang. In the New Guinea Islands, brief showers expected in Lorengau, fine and sunny in Buka, Kaveng and Rabaul, cloudy weather in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, all centers mostly fine except Mount Hagen, to look forward to cloudy weather with some showers. Forecast for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, Karama through to Yule Island, Hood Point to Arama Coast, to Samurai Island, Cape Bogle to Finchafen, Madang to Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, and the southern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 meters to 1.5 meters, waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, Finchafen including Vitias, CSC Island to Long Island and West New Britain, seas of 1.5 to 2 meters, and waters of Manus and its western group of islands, New Island to East New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 meters to 3 meters. And ocean forecast for PNG areas, Coral Sea sees moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. Solomon and Bismarck seas light to moderate with southeast to southwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight with southerly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And that's been the news, sports and weather for today, Thursday, 6th of November, 2014. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.